Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Willow Tree Kitchen.
Willow Tree Kitchen is a one-woman owned and operated bakery currently slinging delicious vegan cookies, mixes, and baked goods out of Kitchen Local in Amesbury, Mass.
Follow Willow Tree Kitchen _ on Instagram or go to their website at willowtreekitchen.com for more.
Greetings, ladies, gents, and our non-binary friends. Welcome to Spoiler Sleepover, part of the Nerdtalk Network. Join your hosts, Jason, Michael, and Rob, as they bring you on a slash-tastic adventure through cinema. Now, enjoy the show. It'll be a real scream of a time.
Welcome back, everybody, to Spoiler Sleepover. I am Jason Michael, and of course, joining me for the last week of February with friends, we have Christine back here again. Christine, hello. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Just came over a cold, so back at it. Ready for more excitement.
Excellent. We are here, of course, to talk about the final in the three solo movies in a franchise of The Conjuring. I don't know if solo would entirely work for that description, but they're the main Conjuring movies. They're not any of the side stuff about Annabelle or the Nun yet. But we're here to talk about the third and final movie, The Devil Made Me Do It. But before we get to that, of course, we have to talk about some what's been keeping us up at night. Christine, what has been keeping you up at night?
So I have been really into watching some American horror shows. So I've been kind of keeping backtracking and going from the beginning because I like to rewatch a lot of things. So I started watching from season 1 till about season 5. So I've been I've been doing that just because I haven't been feeling great. So I've been just kind of watching that here and there, at night. So that's what's been keeping me up at night because it's really exciting. And I am a little upset because the newer season of American Horror actually got stopped because of the whole that they weren't filming and everything like that. So they kind of shut everything down. So I'm waiting for that. But while I've been waiting for that, I've just been watching the older season. So I'll go from that.
Nice. I do have a few questions about that because I remember when American Horror Story first came out, I was like, oh, wow, this looks so cool, watching the first episode, and then the GIMP showed up, and suddenly I wanted nothing to do with it.
Yes.
Does it get better from there? Because I've thought about going back because...
I think it's depending on each season. The first one was really good. As the episodes started going on, there was actually more talk about it, and there was more details involving what is the GIMP and the history behind the house. My personal favorite is Asylum, and it's in an abandoned asylum, and it's pretty creepy. I actually really enjoy reading and listening to different podcasts when it comes to old abandoned asylums, especially because they are from this area. There's a lot in New England, and the research on it is just really, really neat. So that's personally my
That's
favorite.
not the one with...
Yes.
Is that Lady Gaga?
Ahead, sorry. No. Lady Gaga is the one with the vampire, which honestly is not my favorite, just because I'm not big into vampires. I'm not into that whole Twilight thing or just all that stuff. I'm more into the creepier side, and vampires is kind of bleh.
I have a vampire movie that could creep you out, though. It's called The Lost Boys.
Okay, all right. I'll have to check that out then.
Yeah, it's got some creepy aspects, but it's just such an 80s classic, and it is, besides Dracula from 1931, Lost Boys is my favorite vampire movie. I haven't seen any of the sequels. Maybe I'll have to in order to do a breakdown episode, but at the same point, I don't want to... I've heard they're not as good as the first, and I don't want to tarnish the original.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to definitely check it out. I haven't actually heard of that. When I think of the Lost Boys, I honestly think of Peter Pan and Neverland and all that. So I'm not really thinking on those lines of vampire. So it's just something I'll have to think about.
I'll remind you. I also have a follow-up question because 3 weeks ago at the start of February, you said in your What's Keeping Us Up at Night You were watching Lee Winnell's The Invisible Man. Did you ever finish it?
I have not.
Oh.
I know. I thought I was going to be able to finish it, but at least towards the next day. I did not. I actually got a little bored of it. But that's okay. That's okay. I have to literally sit myself down and be like, okay, I'm going to watch this from beginning to end. Without any interruptions or anything like that, because I think that was the biggest thing is having the interruptions. It lost my interest. So
Okay.
yeah, I literally have to just sit down and actually rewatch it. So stay tuned.
Darn you,
and
busy
maybe
mom lifestyle.
I know. So stay tuned on another episode with moi. I will go into detail about that.
Nice. As for me, I've been binging as many shows as I can because at the time of this recording, in exactly 1 week, I leave for England. I will give you some hints as to what is happening in England in the upcoming segments, but I've been binging through more of the Grand Tour. So from the Top Gear guys, Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May, they have a new special coming out called The Sand Job, but I'm trying to watch through all their episodes and then all the specials to get up to that point. I don't think there's any plot or anything that I'll be missing, but I feel like it'll be nice to have a complete picture, if you will. Then, of course, continuing season 2 of Reacher, which I feel like is a great show once I start it, but then when I put it down, I just kind of let it be for a little bit. And, of course, the ever-popular Metalocalypse. But that has been what's keeping us up at night. Please, pretty please with the cherry on top, let us know what's been keeping you up at night and message us on Instagram or on Facebook. That's right, Facebook. And let us know. On to our little earworm. Christine, have you been listening to anything this week?
I actually have been. So I don't know if anyone's familiar with actually the series on Netflix about Haunting of Hill House. I've actually been really interested with their music just because it's kind of I don't know, it's very there's a lot of piano music involved with it. There's a lot of creepiness to it. But there is this one specific song that's at the end, and it's by Gregory Alan Iskabov, and he creates this song that's absolutely sad, but so eye-opening. So there's not really a lot of words to it, but without giving out too much information, this song was at the end of season 1, and it's just very emotional, and so it brought out my emotional side of it. And I'm not gonna lie, I did cry, only because I remember the series, and then hearing the song, it's just very relaxing, and then also oh my god, it's so emotional. So I've been listening a lot to him and a lot of his other music, which actually one of the songs is called Amsterdam. And I've always wanted to go to Amsterdam. So it was just oh my God, this is a really good song. I really want to go there someday. And, hopefully, fingers crossed, I will someday after having children and, I'm relaxed and with my husband and stuff. So, yeah, that's what I've been listening to.
That's so touching. I love that.
I know, it's not very scary. It's not I do listen to pretty not really scary stuff, but scary music and stuff. But it just reminded me of House of Haunted Hill, which is a creepy series. So it ties in together.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm about to bring it right back down to creepy though. A album that just came out recently by one of my favorite bands, Whitechapel, which is a big, spooky, scary, heavy metal kind of voice. Saw them live with Gwar, which I showed you Gwar when I went to go see them in October of 22 with my brother for his birthday. They just released an album, Live in the Valley. They had an album called The Valley, but this is them playing that album live. So I've been listening to that. And I want to go back and see Whitechapel because I saw them when I had no idea who they were. And I was like, this shit rips. So I would very much so like to go see Whitechapel again. And fun fact about Whitechapel, they're actually named for a town in East London, or a district in East London called Whitechapel, which I, at the time this episode comes out, visited last weekend. So I'll put that picture up on the Instagram so you'll be able to see that, as well as the fact of that is where Jack the Ripper did most of his deeds. Supposedly. Allegedly.
I was going to say, allegedly, that's where,
Yeah. And this weekend, when this one's coming out, it will be our trip to York, which is apparently the most haunted place in the UK, possibly even the world.
Ooh.
So, of
That
course,
sounds fantastic.
Oh, yeah. So more pictures of that to come. But those are our earworms. Let us know what you're listening to, be it soundtracks to a show or live albums. Let us know. We're always interested in more music and more shows, of course. For our last segment, we have our Creeping It Real. Christine, I watched it today because the trailer of this movie came out today, February 7th, date of this recording. How familiar are you with the Quiet Place series?
So I actually I just watched the first movie actually this year. Oh, no, sorry. It's February. So it wasn't this year, but it was probably back in like November, December that I watched it. I got it to about halfway. It was pretty good. I mean, I definitely, like I said, I just don't have time to finish from beginning to end. So I definitely want to watch it again. My husband has finished the first one, and I believe he has finished the second one. He said that he thinks it's okay, but he's seen better. So I was like, okay. He doesn't have the same horror taste as I do. So I definitely like the way that things started. But like I said, I don't know too much more information than that. So other than It is weird that everything's quiet. And there's only just sound effects like going on throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And there's like no talking. There's none of that. So
it's unsettling in certain aspects. But today, the trailer for A Quiet Place Day 1, which is a prequel to the whole thing, just came out. And I'm apologizing ahead of time because I'm going to butcher this name. Lupita Nyong'o, I believe, is how you say it.
Yep.
She was in Black Panther. She was in several of Jordan Peele's works, but she is the main star in this. And apparently also Joseph Quinn, who played Eddie in the new season of Stranger Things, the last season of Stranger Things. He's also in it. I don't recall seeing him in the trailer though.
Okay.
But it's from what the trailer is showing, it's like probably New York, but it's like, look up, things are crashing to Earth, everybody's screaming, creepy, Demogorgon looking aliens coming out. And that's basically the trailer of, oh dear God, it's the first day 1, some could say, of this whole thing. I don't entirely know how much more they can get out of this. Like how it seems like a pretty cut and dry idea. Like the first one, I was okay with. John Krasinski was great. Emily Blunt, great. The second one, I feel like wasn't necessary. It didn't really bring much more to the table from what I remember.
Okay. I'm not going to lie, just hearing about aliens and stuff like that doesn't really pique my interest. I don't know if you're familiar with Yellow Jackets, but there's definitely some.
You told me about that.
Yeah. So it's just different creatures that are like around and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Like, that just sounds weird. Day 1, like just aliens coming down to Earth does not sound too thrilling to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's sounding like / again, what the trailer looks like. It's a lot like what happened in the first couple opening scenes of the second Quiet Place, where it's like they're in their small town. They see things falling from the sky. All of a sudden they're in their small town downtown. And that's where shit starts going wrong. And they have to huddle into the diner and be like, oh, quiet. Don't make any noise. It kind of feels a lot like that couple opening scenes is now going to be turned into about a probably 2-hour and change movie.
All right.
Yep.
Well, we'll have to find out. I mean, maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't be. We'll have to find out when it happens.
You're darn right. I don't even know if it even had a release date. It probably does, but I can't remember. June! Only in theaters in June. That's all it says.
Only in June.
Yeah. But that has been our Creeping It Real. If you like the Quiet Place series, let us know. Try and convince us. Maybe we'll do a breakdown on it. Maybe. I can't imagine that breakdown is going to be a lot of talking. It's just going to be, and silence. Other stuff is happening, but quietly. Christine, I feel like I've been pushing it off long enough. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
As you can tell.
There's a sigh to that. There's just...
Ugh. As you can tell by our wonderful, wonderful excitement, We're doing The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. This came out 21? 22?
2021.
Okay. 2021. So maybe people just getting back after the pandemic, maybe that had to do with a lot of the CG in this movie. Spoiler alert, some of the CG, if not all of it, sucks really bad.
It was horrible. Yeah, I'm just going to flat out say it. It was horrible.
There's Christine's. I'm very excited to see ratings because I think, will mine seem a bit cruel? Absolutely. But we'll get to that. The movie starts, the beginning of this movie feels like a Conjuring movie. It starts off in a house that is literally being torn apart. We find out the Warrens are already there. Something has possessed a young boy. And there's scratch marks all over the place. The chandelier is broken and fallen into the middle of the floor. And the Warrens are there to witness the exorcism of an 8-year-old boy. The exorcism was already approved, and they start getting things to, get it going. The little boy, I don't remember many of the names in this movie, but the little boy is basically terrified. He's like, I'm so scared. What's going to happen? And I'm pretty sure it's Ed, but he goes, I won't let anything happen to you. I promise. My first thought was, yeah, bullshit.
That, and you don't promise anything, you don't know what's going to happen. You just, I know he's just there to just, help him and be like, no, I promise nothing's going to happen. But automatically when you say that, it's not going to happen. Or maybe it will. I don't know.
Like in the second one where he's like, all right, Lorraine, we won't do this anymore. I promise. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, right. Yeah. And then 30 minutes later, look what happens. As we said, the exorcism was approved and they look outside and the father or the preacher rolls up in the car and he gets out and just stares at the house, and it looks like the cover in one of the most infamous shots in The Exorcist, which I thought was a pretty cool nod. And I was like, okay, all right. It brought me out of that slump of, oh, we're going to watch this movie now.
Yeah. It also reminded me a little bit of The Exorcism of Emily Rose, I'm not going to lie. But that's just because exorcisms in general remind me. I'm like, oh, Emily Rose. All right, here we go. Is it going to be similar? It just reminds me because the priest is coming in. He's involved, and it's like, okay, here we go.
The priest feels like just such a throwaway character, honestly. He's here for quite a lot of the movie, if I remember correctly, but he's kind of just, there's a priest too. Oh, yay. So the boy is up in his room, and then he starts hearing knocking, and then, of course, banging on the door. So he runs to his walk-in bathroom, but he runs into the bathroom, slams the door, and hides in the shower. This is probably, for me, the coolest thing in the movie, and we're maybe 5 minutes into it, is when he's hiding in the shower. It's absolutely silent, and he's waiting for something. We're waiting for something to happen. And then he looks up, and we see already wrapped around the shower rod with the shower rings is just a black and red demonic hand that all of a sudden just unfolds itself and slinks behind the curtain. I went, oh shit, while watching it, because that was sick.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely holy moly, why is this hand there now? Obviously, this is coming out very quickly. Not expecting first thing in the beginning of the movie, but I'm like, oh, okay, this is real.
And then the shower basically turns on as a shower of blood. That's great. Boy, of course, starts screaming, so everyone's brought up to the room, and they're like, where is he? Where is he? Buddy, you okay in there? Then, of course, at this point, as we could tell, the boy's possessed. He comes sprinting out of the bathroom with a shard of glass, stabs his dad in the leg, and then has to be restrained all the way down the stairs. You can see the entity or the force where it's I don't want to get exercised right now. So it itself is clawing at the wall. It's not the boy's hands. It is some demonic power that is leaving these scratch marks in front of everybody, which I know I said it in the second episode of ghosts that don't give a shit. Who's there? Perfect. All about it. This demon's cool. Everybody's here. Spectacle time. And it's pretty cool for that. Let it be said, it's still not cooler than the hand on the shower rod for me. Nothing will top it.
Agreed.
So the exorcism starts. They start chanting. And of course, like we said, really dodgy CG. There is a lot of contortionist work in this movie, but at the same point, it's a lot of CG contortionist. The boy, he stands up, but his head is still on the table, and he is all crackly and all twisty and such, and everything starts flying around the room. I kind of feel bad, but I don't. The dishes start flying and strikes the priest in the head. I laughed. I just audibly laughed.
I did too.
Yes! Okay, all right.
I did too. Just because it's just random, and I'm just like, oh, it's a priest. Okay.
Wow, this is really serious.
Like,
what
you.
does that say about us? We find humor in some of the darkest shit.
Yeah. The demon's like, oh, fuck you. You throw bleeding.
Got him. Ha ha. Headshot. This is where the movie takes a turn because the kid jumps on Ed and starts freaking him out as a demon. And then it's daughter of the family. And then there's another guy who is her boyfriend, Arnie.
Yeah.
Again, don't remember many of the names. And that's one of the ones where it's like, what the fuck's his name? Oh, cool. They say his name about 50 other times during the movie. They beat it into your head. Love it. He grabs the boy, the possessed boy, and is like, leave him alone. Take me instead. Ed's having a heart attack that we find out, but he's basically like, Arnie, don't do it. And then all of a sudden, the little boy is no longer possessed. And all of that demonic energy goes into Arnie, and it's like, oh, yay, everything's done. And we see Arnie just kind of snap back into reality for a second, just going, so that's where the movie's going.
Yeah.
And then we get, I think it's because I hate the name of this movie so much that this title crawl made it even worse for me. We see the title card, based on a true story, this, that, and the other thing. And it just pans up The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I don't think it would have changed I felt about the movie, but if it just said The Conjuring and then The Devil Made Me Do It popped in or faded in, I feel like it would have looked better versus put it all right here. I'm probably nitpicking the shit out of this, but
I do like that idea of having it that way, because then you're like, oh, then something is happening. Okay. Not just in one title.
Yeah. So Ed had a heart attack, and of course, Arnie's the boyfriend, and he wants to leave the town. We find this all out, when things are happy in a little bit. The family is back to as normal as possible. There's still scratches all over the walls. They're having a conversation in their room, Arnie and the girlfriend. And then they go downstairs and they live above a dog kennel, which just felt out of place to me. I don't know why. I think, again, we're in a Conjuring movie and it seems way too lighthearted at the moment. It feels very bright and cheery.
So there actually is a little background to that. I actually did read about this just in the last couple of days. The original Conjuring for this movie was based off of a possession that there was already had about a boy. I don't know if his name was Arnie exactly, but it was taking place at a home that had a dog shelter underneath. So I think they put that into the movie to replicate that it was based off of that.
Gotcha.
Again, it was really weird because you went from like this evil thing to, oh, puppies and cuteness, and okay, they better not be doing anything with the dogs. You know what I mean? Like, It was just very weird. But like I said, I think it's based off of that. There was a story about a possession with it.
Yeah. Again, the whole movie just feels out of place for me. But continuing on, they're walking down and they meet their landlord, or we meet their landlord. I think his name is his name is Bruno, because I have a note that Bruno is a scumbag. He's a scumbag.
Yes.
He's very, This was a fun little detail. Oh yeah, no, he's unsettling, especially later in the scene where he's like, oh, come dance with me. And he's already had a few and he's getting a little off-putting with the female character. But
he's just an alcoholic, honestly.
Yeah. So Arnie and the girlfriend are trying to leave to go to their families for a nice little barbecue. And as they're walking out, Arnie walks past the stereo and it glitches and kind of like, and Bruno goes, Arnie, can you help me out with the stereo when you get back? Your thing's always on the fritz. And I was like, no, it's not. That was okay, but no, it's not. So we go back to the house where all the scratches on the wall. It wasn't at the dog kennel. I mistaked the houses, but we're back at their house. That's where all the scratches still are. And Arnie goes into the house and there is a cereal box that just starts moving. And we're like, ooh, okay. This is the demon that was with Arnie. Okay. Then it falls and it starts freaking out. It's just a rat. It's just a rat in the box. And it's like, wow.
Stupid. I thought that was stupid. I mean, I'm just like, okay, are they trying to scare people? Like, is this just a cheap thing to do? Like,
That
I thought it was stupid.
Okay, I didn't entirely think of how to phrase it, but you just brought it up, and I'm in a total agreement. This movie feels cheap to me. It feels like they're relying on the name of the Conjuring franchise. Again, based on a true story or not, it feels gimmicky. Like all the stuff they've done in the first two and all the other Conjuring universe movies that came out, I feel like they're relying a lot on those gimmicks, or a lot of the, ooh, what's happening with it? It's just a rat. Ha ha ha, you silly. Here's the real scare. It's like, cool. He sees the rat go into the wall and then turns around and it's like some dark creature. And I was like, yeah, that was that predictable thing right there. Great. It shows up and I'm pretty sure it like starts choking him, but then it just disappears.
Yeah.
And he's freaked out. Understandably so. You're not expecting to see some dark shadowy figure right behind you. We cut to the hospital where the preacher or the father is there with Ed and Lorraine. We find out more backstory about the Warrens, where there's a nice little theater with ice cream, and then they're in a gazebo in the rain. It's so picturesque. Great.
It was their past. It was them when they first met. It was girlfriend and boyfriend.
Yeah, I was okay with the little, and then I married her. Oh, okay, that's a little thing. I didn't think we needed more backstory on the Warrens, especially after the first and the second one kind of were just turned into Warren stories anyway. I know this one was very Warren-centric, but it comes back into play in the end of the movie, so I guess that's the reason. Damn you.
I really thought that they were going to actually put that in like the first movie. Like for them to like add it to the third movie, it's like just like, oh, we've already been with them. Like now we're hearing their backstory. I don't know. That's weird.
Were the Warrens the main characters in the Annabelle movie?
No.
Oh, okay. So then it's just Warrens in 1, 2, and 3. But again, we got so much backstory in 2. And 1 we kind of did, but at the same point, we still got a decent amount. Where I felt like this was just shoving it down our throats at this point.
Yeah.
So we cut back to Arnie, who's at his lumber job or tree limbing job. He's trying to work a chainsaw up a tree, and it's not working. It's not turning on. And then, of course, we see a shot of him on the tree, on the ladder, from a window, turn around. I thought this whole time, we find out it's not, but I thought this was like a dark Arnie. And I thought it was just a shadowy version of him. It's like, oh, he's possessed. And it's not even him.
No.
When we find out who it is, it makes me happy knowing who the actor is. But it was like, oh, well, that kind of just feels like a wasted opportunity, if you will.
Yeah.
So he turns around because he feels something's watching him, sees the shadowy figure, chainsaw starts, and he drops it, which almost like they had plenty of room, but it almost landed near some of their workers who are like, Artie, what are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, yes, I understand. You're fine, though. Chill. You're okay.
I honestly thought with that, like, it was just very, like, I don't know, like, expected to happen. So, like you knew, okay, something's going to happen. Is the chainsaw going to hit someone, or is it going to, like, hit the ground? Like, I don't know. Like, it was very predictable. I don't like stuff that's predictable. I just like a little bit like, oh my God, I was not expecting that. You expected that.
Yeah. A lot of this movie, again, like when it showed, or the whatever shadow figure showed up behind Arnie when he's looking for the rat in the wall, that was like, and it's going to be right behind him. Wow, it is. Great. We talked about it in, I think it was the second episode of The Conjuring, where timing is really, really weird in the Conjuring movies. That scene, it was very, I know exactly what's going to happen. There is maybe one other scene in this movie, and it's actually about to happen, where timing just takes forever, and you're like, okay, when is it going to happen? What's going to happen? But we cut back to the dog kennel. Arnie is helping to fix the speaker. Bruno's had a few drinks. He's like, Arnie, have a drink. And Arnie's spacing the hell out because he's seen some demonic possession twice today, or demonic presence. And he's just...
He almost looks like he's high. Like, he honestly looks like he's high, but he's not. Like, he's just so, like, freaked out and just, ugh.
And it's probably messing with him in his mind while he's sitting there, which...
Oh, absolutely.
I have said it a lot, but I either audibly say things or laugh during movies when I'm not supposed to. Two things happened in this upcoming scene where Arnie is working on the speaker, trying to fix the speaker with a knife. Get a fucking screwdriver, you psychopath.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, okay, cool. The knife is being zoomed in on. That's going to play a part in the next scene, which it does.
Yep.
Arnie is now mentally being manipulated by the entity, and he runs away and sees like dark and spooky. He sees some sort of monster, which is Bruno, and the dogs are all barking. He falls on the ground. The hallway turns dark, and all that's lit up is like a window, but it's like blood red. Because, you know, in his demon mind at the moment. This is where timing is thrown out the window. It feels like it goes on for way too long of waiting. At this point, I'm not even going to be scared of what comes flying down the hall because it's just been, all right, come on, let it happen. Something, basically the Bruno monster, comes crawling down the hall and Arnie starts stabbing the shit out of it. And this is where you can kind of go, oh, the devil made him do it. Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Ugh. But he walks away, and then we find out that as a cop is then driving up to the house, and we see Arnie walking down the street. We see him back first, and we're like, okay, we know what's on the front of him. Cop comes up, tells him to turn around. And then we see his eyes, which his whole face is gray and veiny, and like you can tell he's possessed. This is what the little boy, which I don't remember his name, this is what he looked like when he was actively possessed. Then his eyes go back. He's out of possession, turns around. He's got a knife in his hand and blood on his shirt. And I said, the dialogue fucking sucks because he goes, I think I hurt someone. It's like, you're not more freaked out of whose blood is this? Oh God! No, excuse me, officer. Yeah, sir. I think I hurt someone.
It was me. I think I hurt someone. I think it was me.
Maybe.
He honestly looked like he was from the freaking Walking Dead.
Yeah. No. Oh no! I just had a hamburger earlier. Squirted ketchup on my shirt. Sorry. No. I think I hurt someone. What the fuck? So we cut to Ed is feeling a little better, and by a little better, I mean the man is walking around with a cane this whole time, and is basically useless for the rest of the movie, in my opinion. He's so underutilized, and it's like, and Ed's here too, yay! But the Warrens are basically they're going at him with a Bible, with a crucifix, because he's like, I was possessed, something happened, and of course, you know, nothing does anything, so they go, well. He's not currently possessed, but he could have. He could have been. Yeah. And they basically say that if you try to use demonic possession as an answer or an excuse, it's considered, but basically doesn't help you at all. It's not. It needs way more proof than you would think, and nobody's going to believe you. Yeah. So basically right now, due to what Arnie did, he's staring at the death penalty for killing the man. Bruno. We then start getting more backstory about the house that the family moved into. We get to see the little boy go into his room. You know, the chandelier's up. There's no scratches on the wall, but he goes into a room. And there's a waterbed. Have you ever used a waterbed?
I have, actually. So it was just interesting to just see it because I was like, yeah, I've been on a waterbed. Yes, it's going to be very like floppy and like very like, ooh, you know, like, oh, this feels really, really cool. But I was just like, oh, this kid's like, he's fucked. he's going on this bed. Something's going to come out of this bed. There's no doubt. Or something's going to be above him. Yeah. Again, predictable.
Yeah. The only time I was on a waterbed was when we went down to South Carolina to visit my grandmother. I and my brother had to share the bed at the time, and we both got
the waterbed.
Incredibly sunburnt. So we are lying on the waterbed just going, don't fucking move, please. Because every slight movement was just, It was miserable. But yeah, that's my experience with a waterbed, and quite frankly, this kid and I, we're sharing something here. We see movement in it first, and then we see a face in the waterbed, and an arm just pops out of the waterbed, grabs him, tries to drag him under. He's screaming, and of course the waterbed's all damaged. Everyone goes, "Oh wow, what happened? I popped the waterbed." Nope, something's fucky. Something's going on here. The Warrens are at the house now, and they're like, "Show us where this happened." And they lift up a rug, and they go, "That's not water damage." It looked black, but it also looked just slimy, like ooze or ectoplasm. It didn't look like water damage would normally.
No.
So, I mean, maybe that, but it's like, hey, water damage usually doesn't make a pile of jelly on the ground. So that probably was there. Oh, cool. Check under the house. So Ed can't move or do. Yeah. So Ed can't move or do shit in this movie. So Lorraine goes crawling under the house, and we get a quick little rat jump scare as we go through this tarped off area, which I don't, why it's tarped off, I don't entirely know. Maybe they were building under the house and they left it there, but it's like, I'm sure you can get rid of that. And I had no idea what to think of about this until they basically said it in the movie. Lorraine finds a totem for the reason this house is haunted. It's not a ghost. It's not a demon. There's a totem. Something was put there in order to bring some sort of entity into this house. And when that was explained to me, I went, this isn't a ghost movie. It's a it's an occultist movie.
Yes.
And that's when I went, oh. It immediately, besides the name, tanked the movie for me. Yeah. It's kind of upsetting, honestly. I don't know why. It's still got some form of demon, but it feels like the strings are being pulled by a human being, and that kind of throws me from this whole thing. Yeah. It kind of just took me out of it, where it's like, oh, you're looking for a person now? Why?
Yeah, I agree. It did seem very, like, cultish, and that I was like, okay, are we going to deal with the cult? Like, is it a mastermind of, like, all these people? Or is it one specific person that is creating this? Was it a long time ago, or was it just recently?
Yeah. They then find out that there was a similar case to what they're hearing about, where it's like some girl, I think they were in Massachusetts at this point. Danvers, Mass. Damn you, Danvers. But they'd go to Danvers, Mass, where there was a homicide detective looking for a missing person. And with this missing person's case, they found another one of these totems. So they're like, bam, connection. Perfect. And the detective is like, the Warrens, I've heard about you, but why should I let you help out with this case? It's like, because some family's at stake. And he's like, cool, I don't care about that. You help me solve my case, I'll help you with yours. But how can I believe it's you? And it's like, okay, ask a question to Lorraine. She'll be able to answer it, no problem. And he pulls out 3 different items from evidence, and the entire rest of the precinct is watching, just like, oh, is she going to guess it? It's like, what was the murder weapon? We sit there for like 20 seconds, and he goes, cool, there's nothing about this. And Lorraine goes, that's the one. And then he goes, it's a 1 of 3 chance. It's super simple.
They just wanted to say which one was the murder weapon.
Yeah. And you see cops in the background exchanging money because they were placing bets. So they start driving out to where the missing person happened. And somehow they started talking about Elvis. I think they had it on the radio. And then Lorraine goes, oh, I met Elvis before. It's like, before or after he died? And she goes, before and after. And I was like, oh, okay. We're back on this Elvis kick, I see. And this is the second test where Lorraine just looks at a road and goes, you missed the turn where you found her body. And the detective goes, all right, you passed. And turns right back around. Again, very, very lighthearted this movie is, because it's just, oh, a little test. Oh, she got it. You fool. Why weren't you listening to her? It's weird.
She read the notes. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah. David is the little boy who got possessed in the beginning of the movie, and he goes with his sister to visit Arnie in prison, and Arnie starts describing how he's feeling, and the boy's like, you're possessed, aren't you? Always feeling cold, never alone. Why can't you sleep? Why is this thing telling you to do bad things? And they ask, what is the voice telling you to do now? We get a little freeze frame on Artie's face, and then we cut back to the Warrens. It's like, cool. What happened? What is he feeling? But we'll find that out soon. I hate to bring it back to this because there's not many good trailer moments in this movie. As soon as they pull up to the woods, I was like, this is going to be that shit trailer moment where it's like really bad and apparent CG. I can forgive bad acting, but when it's really bad and very apparent CG, it takes me out of the whole thing. And I just see people standing on green or blue, like, blocks on a giant backdrop. It's like, okay, all right, well. They're in the woods, and Lorraine starts going through. We get a cool tree transition where she finds the initial spot of where I think the girl's name is Katie that has gone missing. And she goes into one of her visions. She's in that, and we're expecting some scary scene because we see a tree and we see a hand come out from behind the tree, and it's a quick little jump scare, but it's just happy. People come running out from behind the tree and just all, yay, ha, 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 ha. It's like, oh, that could have been built up to something much better than just, ha, levity.
Yeah.
Could have been something scary, but no, it wasn't. So the two girls that are there, Katie and whoever the other one is, basically the victim in the situation, they exchange bracelets, and then very quickly, similar to the shotgun scene in the first one, Lorraine starts reenacting the stabbing from Katie when she was possessed to her friend. And Lorraine, as Katie, then takes off in following the footsteps, following the path that Katie went on that night. And Ed is trying to keep up. He is hobbling with his cane and with his heart. He is not really making it far at all. I'm going to pick apart this shit real bad right now. So Lorraine comes up to the cliff, the really bad CG'd cliff, and Ed's like, Lorraine, stop. She turns around, and there's a demon hand that comes up and pulls her ankle down. I get it. There's a bunch of other stuff like demons that...
It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah. Like Valak. Valak was something that, only certain people could see for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, bam, she's there. But it's like, the hand, all of a sudden, it's just like, haha, I'm going to drag you off the cliff.
Whee!
What was the point of that? Was this ghost, like, all of a sudden trying to kill Lorraine? Did it have any ill intent towards Lorraine? Or all of a sudden, it's just there for, some form of jump scare and some form of, oh my God, Lorraine's going to fall off the cliff. But here comes Ed to dive and then catch her and pick her back up. And as the detective gets there, Lorraine just goes, she's down there. She's in the water. There's some parts
sad. It's really sad.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. There's some parts of the scene where it's like, oh, okay, that's upsetting, or, that looks pretty good. Because I will, for all the shit I'm giving it, I will also say there are some scenes at the cliff that are close-up scenes where it looks like it's actually on site. But as soon as you go to the wide shots, you go, ooh, that poor composition. That's the real victim here.
Yeah.
So Lorraine helped to find the missing person. Of course, we don't know if it's Katie at this point because they got to ID it. They got to take it and do all sorts of record checks. We cut back and find out that the demon was trying to tell Arnie to kill himself. So that's great. That's fun. So the girlfriend calls Ed, which also there's several points in this. Is the girlfriend the Warren's daughter? Or is it? Okay.
No. So
she looks damn near identical.
She does. The girlfriend is David's sister.
Yeah.
So it's the little boy's sister, and then it's Arnie is the boyfriend of the girlfriend, and he's like a brotherly figure to David.
Okay.
That's why they're very close, and it acts like brother and brother, but they're not.
Okay. All right. She looked very close to the Warren's daughter, which is she even in this movie? I don't remember if she is.
To be quite honest, I don't think she is. She might be towards, I don't know.
We'll say probably,
so.
And
probably,
I don't think I'll lose sleep over it.
No.
So this makes no sense where the girlfriend calls Ed and is like, the demon wants him to kill himself, and all of a sudden there's growling and demonic sounds over the phone. Like, the demon's like, shut up! hang up the phone. Don't tell him. Like,
Shut your mouth.
like, what is the demon all of a sudden on the phone? Like, oh, hang up. Like, how? Why? How? God damn it. This fucking movie. Ed goes, all right, we got to go talk to Father Hamlin, the priest in the prison. So this is the father who got beaten to the head with a dish. Father Hamlin is the one who's been there since the start. He's in the prison. He gives Arnie holy water, which it's very obvious that's a glass bottle. And I feel like the preacher did not think this through in the slightest for somebody who's just like, hey, the demon told me to kill myself. Here's a glass bottle,
Here's
son.
a glass bottle.
You fucking dolt. God damn. So Artie gives himself a little holy water circle and just is sitting in the middle of his isolation cell surrounded by a circle. And we cut to a funeral home where Ed and Lorraine Ed breaks in and they go to try and have Lorraine ID the body via her vision. This felt weird to me. I get like she still has those visions, not knocking that in any way, but Lorraine starts to go inside of the vision and we see like a cemetery, some stairs, we hear a train, and then we see an altar. And I was like, God damn it. I was hoping that it wasn't going to be an occultist, but here it is. It's a Satanist. It's somebody who's worshiping the devil and they're casting curses. God damn it. Bring it back to what ghost and demon movies are about. I get it's something like that, but it just throws me. It just throws me. Hate this movie.
Hence in the title, the devil made me do it. There's definitely some demon.
The devil makes me hate it. We see a woman at the altar, and I recognized her immediately. Her name is Eugenie Bondurant.
Bondurant.
Yep, Bondurant. Which I recognize her from a much better movie, and it's a lot shorter than this. Werewolf by Night. It's the start of the Midnight Suns, fingers crossed, in the Marvel Universe, because Midnight Suns, Werewolf by Night, Ghost Rider, Blade, fucking incredible if they do that. She's one of the hunters in that movie, and in that movie she kind of looks like David Bowie to me. She's a very, I hope I use this word right, gaunt? Is it gaunt or jaunt?
Gaunt.
Like just looks, okay. She looks very gaunt in Werewolf by Night because, like, she's really. God damn it, Christine! All right, I'm keeping that on.
I'm sorry.
She looks very just skeletal. I mean, I'm looking at pictures of her right now, and that's just how she is and who she is. She, again, I don't want it to sound horrible like it did for Valak. She's got the perfect, like, bone structure to look just terrifying. Feels so mean describing people like that, but like she sells it. She sells that she's someone to be worried about in Werewolf by Night, and in this one she sells the fact that she's an occultist and like someone who would worship the devil. Sick. Great. It's just a damn shame that she's in this movie, and that's another, major thing on her IMDb page. So then the occultist is like, "Oh, you have a vision of me now. Cool. How the turntables, motherfucker?" Because now there's this big, long-haired, dead corpse that is standing up inside the mortuary or morgue. And Ed's like, Lorraine, get the hell out of there. The lights have turned off, and Ed is now across the room, so he's nowhere near Lorraine to help her. And this big, hulking corpse starts booking it at Lorraine.
Yeah. Who the fuck was he?
No idea. I'm guessing it was just some corpse that the Satanist was like, cool, I need something, and this is the best I got. So just pulled some random corpse off a table. Yeah, you seem like you'll be imposing. So they take the corpse over, or whatever they do, and the corpse starts, I'm pretty sure it roars and runs across the room.
Yes. And then it starts like going after, like.
Yeah. And Ed gets to Lorraine somehow with his hobble in his heart and breaks her connection, which then breaks the occultist connection, which then all of a sudden the big, giant, fat corpse falls and is lifeless again, bangs its head on like the gurney that it's on, and just lays on the ground. It's like, hey, we should leave. we should get the hell out of here like real soon, because otherwise we're not going to be charged with breaking and entering. We're going to be charged with defiling a corpse. It's going to be great. That we find out from Lorraine's vision that it's an occultist. They're trying to complete the curse on Arnie, and we find out obviously with the corpse the connection works both ways. I wrote in my notes, fuck off, not even a ghost, just some satanic asshole wannabe. Great. I'm mad at this movie.
Stupid movie.
Again, with Ed's heart acting up and, he gets a head rush and passes out. He feels useless this entire time, and I feel so bad because he's a tremendous actor for all the roles he's been given, especially because The Conjuring and Insidious feel very similar to me. He does a great job, but he just feels severely underutilized in this movie now.
Yeah.
And it's gone from what was supposed to be a scary ghost movie to a supernatural mystery.
Yeah.
It's taken far out of left field, and it's just meh. But either way, the Warrens go back to their house. Patrick Wilson wakes up in bed. He's alone in the house. He goes downstairs, and the door to their house is busted in. So he's thinking, oh shit, the Satanist found us. Oh dear God. So before all this, they met John Noble, who is Kastner, who I guess was an old priest or something, and he helped take down, don't even know what the name of the cult was, but he helps take down one of the cults and kept a bunch of their memorabilia in his house. And Lorraine doesn't want to go down there, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, well, she goes, I don't want to go down there. Okay, let's go down there. Lorraine just goes, I don't want to go down there, and 2 seconds later, she's poking her head around the door like,
Let's go down there.
Yeah, Ed and Lorraine are both shocked that John Noble has kept all this stuff because they have their own museum of spooky shit. He's got his museum of occult shit.
Mm-hmm.
How? Why? What are you doing to stop anything? Please do something.
Is he blessing any of it?
Probably not. Ed is still at his house, and he freaks out, turns around, and the occultist is there, and she's kind of like, hi, your family's in trouble, and fades into nothing, goes goodbye. And then we see the big fat corpse again, just in his house, and it starts charging towards him, and then Ed has a knife. But then the Warren's assistant, which I still don't remember his name, and I kind of feel bad about it. He grabs Ed because the Satanist or occultist is messing with his mind and makes him see Lorraine, which he almost stabbed, as that corpse from the morgue.
Yeah.
So he goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. They know, it knows, she knows, Satan knows at this point where they live. They're trying to get to us. And then I think it's Lorraine sees dead flowers. So it's when did those flowers get here? And it's they were, just yesterday. And Lorraine takes the flowers out of the vase, looks in the vase. What's in the vase, Christine?
Inside the vase, and I believe it was true, was that thing. The totem.
The totem. Yup.
The totem.
Another one of those crow, rat, skeleton pieced together totems that brings evil spirits and allows the Satanist to do their work in that vicinity, pretty much.
What the fuck? You're in my house.
God damn it! My house, mine.
My house.
Then this is my house. Hey, call back. So Lorraine goes back to John Noble to be like, hey, we're finding some of this shit. Does any of your stuff, can it help us at all? And Ed and his assistant are back at their house pointing at a map and just going, all right, this is where our house is. This is where the family's house was. But why is there a totem 100-something miles out this way? It's wait, that's where she lived, but where did she go to college where she initially got this? Oh, 30 minutes north of you guys. So it makes a small little triangle, and then they find some midpoint. And I'm sitting there going, did the fucking Satanist really just give away their position like it's some sort of Bond villain? Just yeah, it's good, you found my plan. It's they wanted to be found.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I probably wouldn't have thought about it, but at the same point, really?
You a fucking
Damn it.
idiot.
You moron! You dumb, stupid moron! So,
Pigly son of a bitch.
so Lorraine has gone back to see John Noble. They find out that the pastor had a child. And I was like,
Yes.
oh, it's the occultist, isn't it? And sure as shit.
Yep. As soon as he said he had a child, I was like, they just gave away the whole movie.
And they show a picture of the child, and it looks, I don't know if it was a picture of Eugenie as a child, but it looks really like her, which sometimes when they're like, oh, child pictures of this 40-year-old actor, and it's like some kid who they've never met, they just ripped a child picture off of Google Images. But this one was like, okay, you know what? I can believe it. But again, back to the predictable stuff. Like, really? I don't know. Ed and his assistant, and I believe it's the cop who they helped solve the missing persons case, they start, it's either those three or it's just the two of them. They start booking it towards John Noble's house like, oh my God, the occultist is going to be there. And while she's there having a conversation with John Noble, she's hearing a train. The same train that she was hearing in the vision of, oh, the occultist is near. Great. So it, again, just giving us more. So it's his daughter. Sick. Perfect. It's just such a lame ending. We're also getting cuts back and forth with Arnie in the prison. That glass bottle that the preacher gave him, of course, he broke it and then started cutting his wrists, which Arnie snapped out of it, or the possession was broken from the occultist at one point, so he couldn't finish the job. And then he's basically brought to the med ward and laid in bed. The girlfriend and the preacher are there, and lights are flickering. This is where I'm sitting here going, this is based on a real story. How much of this ending actually happened? Because the way they portray it is lights are going out. Oh, yeah, another one of the predictable scenes earlier when Arnie is like mopping the floor in this ward. He drops something, and it's pulled into the dark corner. And I was like, cool, something's going to come out of that corner. Lo and behold, right out of the corner. But Arnie is now levitating in this med ward, and the windows explode out. Like, there's got to be a record of that somewhere. I know embellishing it for movie's sake, but come on. If it's based on a true story, you want to try and be very close to the true and not just embellish just to make it look better to me. So that's all happening at the hospital. Lorraine finds out, oh, you're the Satanist dad. Got it. And then we find out that the occultist is there, and Lorraine has to go hide. So she goes deeper into the basement, and the father's like sitting at the desk, and the occultist walks through. All right, this was kind of a cool little effect. I'm trying not to give this movie more credit, but I have to admit where credit is due. He's like, my daughter, I've been waiting for you for so long. Walks into a shadow and then walks out of a shadow behind him and slits his throat. He had a gun ready to shoot, but yeah, apparently, can casually stroll through the shadows to slit her father's neck. I thought it was kind of cool where it's like, okay, how's this gonna, oh, she's there. All right. That was pretty all right. So Ed then gets to the house and he hears Lorraine screaming from like a sewer drain, and then climbs down and tries to help her. But the occultist finds him first and like blows some powder in his eyes. And for the end of another Conjuring movie, Patrick Wilson is now blind, pretty much. Yeah. Man, once again, cannot see shit at the end of a Conjuring movie. But he's
crippled and now he's blind.
What did we say? Exorcist reference. Now we're getting a Shining reference. I don't know if you caught it.
I did.
Ed. Okay, perfect. Ed has a sledgehammer and is wearing like a jacket and kind of has like a button-up shirt on underneath. I'm pretty sure it's plaid. But he's hobbling through the downstairs tunnels like Jack Torrance from The Shining. Lorraine sees him and she's like, oh, Ed, blah, blah, blah. And here comes, Patrick Torrance, and he's just swinging a sledgehammer, trying to kill Lorraine because the occultist is like, yes, good, do my bidding. This is where, the wonderful thing of true love conquers all comes into play, because we get the wonderful flashback to the movie theater and to the gazebo with ice cream and the rain. Ed snaps out of it, swings the sledgehammer. We're like, oh my God, he's going to hit Lorraine. No, they're at the altar. Somehow at the altar. And Ed just smashes the shit out of it with the sledgehammer. Which Arnie then falls to the ground at the prison after he tried to cut his own throat while being possessed. And then Lorraine has medicine in her locket to help Ed. His heart. Yeah. His heart attack medicine. Because back at the house, he forgot to take it. Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. He forgot his medicine back at the house, and Lorraine's like, "I've got you," and it's great. It's touching. This is where we get Eugenie, and it's like, "Oh, sick," a close up, and she's pissed, livid that the Warrens,
so pissed.
And she can't really do anything now because, as Ed put it, yeah, your altar's gone. You promised the demon a soul, and it can't go back to hell without it. And the dark occultist, which I thought was Arnie in the beginning, was the demon, just in the occultist shape, walks out of the shadow with like sharp teeth and spooky eyes and basically just at the occultist. And they contortion once again and just like snap. And occultist is now dead. Which, yeah, kind of meh. Again, anyway, I'm really trying to like the movie. I'm trying to, but it's really not working with me here. So the cops show up and they
climb out of the sewer.
Yeah, they climb out of the sewer, and I'm going to come back to this scene because this made this movie feel more disjointed from the rest of the Conjuring movies than it already did for me. Arnie's on trial, and to me, it really came about in this last scene. He kind of looks like a young Matt Smith. Have you ever seen Doctor Who?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the doctor with the fez, I believe, and like the tweed jacket or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and he's like, oh, it kind of looks like it. And then Arnie is like, they believed the demonic possession, and Arnie is convicted for manslaughter, only serves 5 years, doesn't get the death penalty, isn't homicide, isn't anything else. It's probably in the situation the best outcome he could have gotten.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
Due to the based on a true story, we find out he served his sentence and then married the girlfriend after he got out of jail. Ed has built a gazebo in the backyard for Lorraine, and it's so cute.
Going back to him, to Arnie, that I think he only got that amount of service as well, like to only be in for 5 years. I think it was because they knew he was demonic, and then he was mentally unfit, and so I think that's probably why he was able to only have a certain amount of time, and that he didn't get the death sentence.
Yeah, I mean, in that whole situation, best outcome right there. They totally wouldn't have said, "Oh, demonic possession? Yeah, sure, you're fine. Go walk the streets." So, to bring it back to what really concretely disjointed this movie from the rest of the Conjuring movies for me, when they go back to the house with their trinket from the whole haunt, I'm sitting there going, what in the hell could it be? They bring back a chalice from the altar, and it's just there. They put it on a shelf. They don't put it anywhere near the music mirror box or the Crooked Man box from the first two. It's just there. He put the Crooked Man box next to the mirror box. Sick. Where's the third one gonna go? Right next to it? No, on a completely different shelf. All we see is Annabelle, of course, and we see the Valak painting. We don't see either of those two items, and it's just like, well, what the hell was the point?
Yeah,
you made a whole point to put Crooked Man right next to the mirror, and Chalice, we'll put it over here on its own shelf. I don't know. It just irked the shit out of me. And then, of course, we get our normal title crawl at the end with some actual real-life scenes and audio. And that was The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. As of right now, last The Conjuring movie in the franchise, because 4 is still in the works but has gone radio silent. Every article I find is basically since October of 22. All in all, this is a real rough movie, and I kind of want to get to the rankings right away here. So, Christine, God, I don't even know what kind of joke to go with here. Out of 10 demonic totems, there, we'll just keep it basic because there's nothing. Either way, out of 10 demonic totems, Christine, how much would you give this movie? And I'm so ready for this.
I'm going to go with the 2.
Damn! Oh, wow.
I'm going to go with the 2. And the reason why is because I fucking hated it. It was just not what I expected. Love Conjuring. Freaking ruined it for me. It truly did. I love this kind of shit. I love, like, Satan, and I don't like Satan. Sorry. That was terrible.
Christine loves Satan! Woo!
No, I don't. I like that stuff, but it's just so predictable, and I hate everything that's freaking predictable, and it just ruined it. That's why I'm giving it a 2. It's just, and it also got a 50 on Rotten Tomatoes. So I don't even think it's a 50 on. I don't think it's even a 50 on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it should have been a 4. It's just, it's freaking horrible. It's terrible.
Wow. You know, honestly, I was expecting low from you, but that shocked me in a way. But I'm so happy because I think if memory serves me correct, this movie is getting my very first 1. I hated this movie. Again, the like only cool thing was the hand on the curtain rod at the very beginning of the movie. And like I wasn't expecting
There's your one thing.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting to fully like The Conjuring 1 or 2 because again, like I feel like I've seen these ghost movies. This movie was just nothing like the other ones. It had a lot of I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's not scary. It's predictable. It's just it's a downer. Also, the name just fucking sucks. I hate this name so much. When I first saw the trailer for it, I was like, "The devil made me do it." Ew! It's like a child just going,
"What did you make
Miss Christine? Miss Christine, the devil made me do it."
It was all that. Listen, if a kid tells me the devil made me do it, I'm going to be like, "Shit, where's some freaking holy water here?"
Power of Christ compels you. This movie just was not it. I didn't go into it with high hopes. I went into it with at least some sort of silver lining, and everything was just, nah. As the kids say, that wasn't it, Chief. Or that ain't it, Chief. Whatever the kids say. I don't know. I'm not hip to the lingo. Wow. Deuces, kid. Yeah, no, I, again, was expecting a little higher from you, and that makes me so happy. Yes. Oh, good Lord.
It's terrible.
Yeah. For this week, our Bloody Legend of the Week is not going to be anybody in the movie at all. Again, Eugenie did great with what she was handed. Ed felt useless. It was a very Lorraine-heavy story, but it just felt like stuff we've seen of Lorraine. Bloody Legend of the Week, I'm going to give to you, Christine, for coming on to this wonderful podcast and talking about some of your favorite movies and just being completely candid about it, where it's like, this one was great. This one sucks ass. And being here to assist me through this, because there's some times where I was like, what the hell did I write? And you're like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I got you. So for this week and for the past 3 out of 4 weeks, Bloody Legend of the Week, Christine. Yeah, you rule.
Who, me? Who, me?
Yeah. No, but I thought it was a lot of fun to break down these movies. And again, thank you for being here for it, because it's fantastic. Which now, if you've been following along at home over the past 2 episodes of The Conjuring, we didn't do any thanks, which we normally do at the end of our episodes, because Christine was going to come back for a few episodes after that. And I didn't want to make it feel like repetitive, or I didn't want to bog down with the same stuff. Christine, at the end of each of our episodes, we like to thank people that have helped to make episodes possible and all the stuff that's going on in our lives at the moment. All we need is a little bit of positivity and to thank and support each other. So is there anybody that you would like to thank for this week or the entire month?
I honestly would like to thank you, Jason, for bringing me on this podcast, because this is very new for me. And I've had a really great time with it, and I hope to continue to do more with you, and especially when we get into other movies like Insidious. So, yes, I would like to thank you for that. I would like to thank anyone who's had a thrill with haunting series and movies and stuff like that. I love hearing from you all, and I'm looking forward to doing more.
Yay. You know how much Christine has enjoyed this month so far? I saw her phone, and I wasn't like creeping on her phone earlier, but she was.
Yes, you were.
I wanted to see the time. I left my watch at home, but she was listening to our very first episode of The Conjuring, which, again, if you're following along at home, came out this past Sunday. We're recording this on a Wednesday. It came out on Sunday. I've already listened to it, and by the time I edited it and put it up, that was weeks ago. I didn't remember a fucking thing. It was great to hear that, and it sounded great. So, Christine, thank you very much for coming on. That I want to thank you first and foremost, because again, I don't think I ever would have come back to these movies. I would have just been like, meh, it's a series I don't need to tackle or anything like that. But it was actually, minus the third one, it was cool to watch the first one again. It was cool to see the second one, which I had high hopes for, and they didn't really disappoint. And there was no third movie at all. But you have been a awesome support through this and making sure I've remembered stuff and my notes didn't confuse the shit out of me. So, and for also just being a great friend, Christine. So thank you all around.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob, for continuing to kick ass on the social media side of things. All those wonderful thumbnails and everything that you are seeing, all from Rob and his creative genius. So thank you, Rob, for kicking ass behind the scenes during this month. Again, at this time, I am in England, so I would like to thank my gracious host of my better half, Zoe, and all the wonderful adventures that we're going on right now, which you can see all the pictures of a lot of the spooky shit that is going up on our Instagram and our Facebook. So there's that. And of course, I have to thank Anna, our sponsor over at Willow Tree Kitchen, making some of the best vegan treats out there. When I say vegan treats, it may bring some people to go, you cannot tell. And as a devourer of meat and a carnivore that I am, holy crap. These are really good cookies, baked goods. The first thing was a chocolate chip sea salt cookie with a vanilla bourbon extract. And it was oh my God. Oh, yeah. No, it is.
Oh, sounds amazing.
My description of it was every bite just felt warm and inviting because it was like such a warm taste to it. The cookie wasn't physically warm, but
it's the bourbon.
Oh, God. No. Yeah, yes. And as a bourbon man myself, or a whiskey gentleman myself. But yes, as always, thank you, Anna, and thank you, Willow Tree Kitchen. Go support a wonderful, wonderful small business and a wonderful small business owner. But with all that being said, next week, we, as in Rob and myself, will be back and we'll be talking about, back to his top threes, we will be talking about Child's Play 2. So the second in the Chucky franchise, or the Child's Play franchise. We'll be talking about that with Rob back here next week. So I hope you've enjoyed February with Friends. I know that I've had a lot of fun. Thank you very much, Kristen, for talking about the Monster Squad 2 weeks ago. Thank you, Christine, for talking about The Conjuring 1, 2, and don't make me do it. It has been fantastic, and I can't wait to have both of you back on for more movies in the future. But until next week, sleep tight, suckers. All right. I don't even know what to put a sting as the end of this episode, but we'll find out for future Jason. Thanks, past Jason. You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Spoiler Sleepover. But the fun doesn't stop there. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Spoiler Sleepover. And be sure to check out our website, www.spoilersleepover.com, for more. That would be really fantastic of you. So until next time, sleep tight, suckers.
Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Willow Tree Kitchen.
Willow Tree Kitchen is a one-woman owned and operated bakery currently slinging delicious vegan cookies, mixes, and baked goods out of Kitchen Local in Amesbury, Mass.
Follow Willow Tree Kitchen _ on Instagram or go to their website at willowtreekitchen.com for more.